Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and Dev and I are doing a discussion over the new Townsfolk Tussle expansions, Odd Jobs and Foul Neighbors.
Man, we tussled.
We did, in the town of Eureka Springs.
Yep.
Fought off against some of those foul neighbors that come off very whimsical.
Yeah, and you were inside of me.
A lot, yeah. Giving you my paintings that you hung up on the fridge.
Yep, right on there, right on mine.
Fought against some enemies that it's like, oh, this is cute, and then you read more about them, and you're like, okay, so this is just insanely dark. We fought an apple and ripped his skin off.
Yeah, we did.
So yeah, with the two expansions, obviously Odd Jobs, which is that one, is the smaller of the two, but weirdly, PAX has a lot of content for Odd Jobs. I actually want to talk about Odd Jobs last.
Okay.
Because Foul Neighbors is the more traditional expansion.
Right, additional monsters and fighters as well.
That's pretty much, the expansion I was expecting whenever they announced it was it's set in their world of the two neighbors, so it's like...
What's this one called? It was called...
it's Misty Bluffs.
Misty Bluffs.
And... which is where I think all of the ones we randomly got were from.
Yeah. So it's like the bad neighbors. Yeah, foul neighbors. They're all just a bunch of shitheads.
Yeah, Sprinkle Falls and Misty Bluff.
Apparently they peel faces off there.
Yeah.
That's just like a thing. Like your character was originally from there.
Yeah.
Had her face removed.
And she was just in a good mood, tried to make friends, and they cut my face
They're like,
off.
you know what? You don't need that anymore.
You know what? We don't like
here?
here? Smiling. And you know what smiles? Faces. So we're just going to remove that. And I'm just like, ha ha ha, and I put on a mask that has me smiling. How adorable. You think the Joker was bad? No.
Just staple his face back on his face.
God, it's so gruesome. It's gruesome, but luckily the art or anything isn't really that gruesome. It's still very tongue-in-cheek with a lot of stuff. But yeah, it basically just comes with 8 new bosses that you can combine, mix and match. Nothing is restrictive of the expansion. So for this playthrough that we just did, we fought Miss Falls & Co., Ernie Awful, Tartar Fishboy, and Red Atrocious. Those were in ascending order. Devin, what do you think of Foul Neighbors?
Oh, I hate it. Can't stand this fucking game. It's the worst. It's great. What an awesome game, this game. It's just, I love the theme. I love the action. Just a good boss battler. It's more bite-sized, and the fights are pretty smooth.
It's not convoluted with rules. It's just it's so simple. You just roll a d10 and check a few attributes. They kept, and the expansion doesn't, make it any more convoluted. It's just hey, you like Townsfolk Tussle? Here's more.
Yeah.
That's it.
More monsters, more terrain, more all of it. More characters.
Yes, a few more characters. I wish there were at least 2 more characters. I mean, there are a lot in the game. Don't get me wrong. Everything that you get is more than enough.
So how many new characters does this come with?
2.
Oh, just these 2?
Just these 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if there were at least 2 more. But again, that's really me just being greedy.
Okay, no wonder there was so much synergy. It's here's the 2 we made.
Yes. Yeah, because now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you have 9 characters.
Okay.
Total to play from. All still completely unique. But yes, these 2 seem to synergize really well. Although, not so much that they need to be played together. These guys would be great with
anyone. They just had abilities that seem to benefit them by being adjacent to the other.
Yes.
So, by playing close together, there's just obviously, team synergy right there.
Yeah, Judy Marks was very cool. She has these 3 paintings that I can give out. I actually think she would be great with more players because it's there's more options of oh, hey, you might get attacked and you might die. Let me give you this happy place painting that gives you +3 movement into Moxie.
Right.
To be a little bit more kind of versatile. And then she gets buffed whenever she gets rid of all of them. Gives me more movement, which is great.
Right, and Bridget over here, I'm a giant fucking fridge lady. Amazing. Can protect you within my cold shell.
You're right.
And heal you within with my ice pack.
Yeah, dude, you are warm. Your coolant's been out for ages.
Just on a bad fridge.
And yeah, and you actually have more damage. If,
like a super cheap requip too. So it's just like I could hold a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
Change out like our only downside is like a low mox, but if you can get compensation for that, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah. So the characters are awesome. I really think they're really cool. But again, like I said, I mean, I'm nitpicking on the expansion. Like two more characters, like to round it out 4 or maybe 3, just so you have 10 to choose from would be really neat. But they're great. Then you come to the bosses, the 4 or the 8 bosses, which we've only fought 4 of them. And here's the thing: if you don't like Townsfolk Tussle, I can't think Foul Neighbors is going to change that in any way.
Right.
Like, there's something fundamental about the game that it just is not vibing with you. But there are some things that it does add. It's not just like, here's more bosses. It is mainly that. But there are a few extra small things that they add that we'll get to. But what do you think of the 4 bosses?
I enjoyed. They all felt like good Townsfolk Tussle themed bosses.
Yeah.
I had a good time with all of them.
Yeah, I never felt like they were like, oh, that kind of feels like this boss from the base game. They all felt completely unique. Very terrain heavy. At least big on those water tokens.
Yeah. Every single one of them used those water tokens somehow.
Yeah, except Red Atrocious.
That's right.
He's the only one who did not. He uses like these sickness tokens, which were really neat. But yeah, we have Red Atrocious, Tartar Fish Boy, Ernie Awful, and then Miss Falls and Co. She was probably my least favorite. And that could have been just because it's the first fight. In the first fight, even though they have no extra abilities, you're so weak and so squishy that with her terrain piece moving around, shocking her and making her cry, but also her shocking us, it was kind of like this.
And then land on you. Like, she'd attack, and then it would land on you, and then it would attack.
Yeah.
So quite a bit of damage for our first fight.
Right. I mean, we squeaked it out, but at first I was like, are we going to lose the first fight? That kind of sucks. But again, they're all unique, and they're brilliantly
The theme is just
designed.
fun. Yeah. Like playing the Cuphead music during the fight. It's
this
is a great old time.
Yeah, I mean, even then, whenever they first came out with the game, they shared a Spotify playlist of inspiration music, which is what I was playing before. But yeah, the art is amazing. It's just fantastic. It is a excellent expansion for Townsfolk Tussle, which is already like a high replayability boss battler, just because even with like every enemy has a unique final fight. Even though somehow we always get Will Barlow.
Every time. Yeah, he was our final fight 2 times in a row, I think.
Yeah. And it's
His is rough.
It is. You have to like
Very specific placement.
get him on the stupid the pentagram.
Yeah, I was like, the Red Atrocious, I was like, this guy's easy.
Yeah,
it's like Will Barlow fucking stretches out.
It really does. But I mean, fighting them, it's like, okay, there's 3 outcomes. You can either go for the special, unique win that unlocks gear, the regular win, or the loss. And they also do come with a rule to actually shorten the game, where you only have 3 bosses instead of 4. Because I know a major complaint of Townsfolk Tussle was it's too long.
Yeah.
And I actually kind of agree with that. I think the game, I love this game.
That's true if you're just playing like one. You obviously want to complete it in one session.
Yes.
I mean, you could separate it, I guess, but it's like it's not really designed to be saved.
No, there's no save system, and it's like, I don't know if they ramp up. I haven't really looked at the rules. I just know they shorten it. But it's like, well, to fully level up and kind of feel like you can stand toe to toe, you kind of have to go through all 4 fights. But yeah, that's just fantastic. It's so bite-sized. This expansion is amazing. So what they added, in case one of the small complaints that I have, and this is just because I have weird co-op rules for myself. In standalone co-op games, which Townsfolk Tussle is, it's not a campaign game, I want it to be very difficult. Because if you win all the time, it's like, okay, we figured out the puzzle, I have no incentive to play this.
Yeah.
Now, this is kind of a niche case because it is so varied. But I have barely ever lost Townsfolk Tussle. Like, we usually always kind of ramp up in like, they don't scale super well by endgame. That it's like, well, we do a lot of damage, or we're hard to kill, or whatever the case may be. So, to counteract that, they added the Barnaby's Curses, which is for each ruffian's head. So they add this thing, which is so aesthetically cool, this trophy wall. So for every ruffian that you beat, you add a sticker. And each boss has a unique sticker thing for them. And if you beat them 3 times and you mount their head on the wall, then you will unlock their curse. And then now curses can be added to the game. Mm-hmm. There's no rhyme or reason why you would, except to make the game harder.
Right.
Like, it's not like, oh, we beat the game with this curse, we get a reward. It doesn't have any of that. So that basically, my one major complaint is that this game kind of is too easy, is fixed. Because it's like, oh, I'm finding this game too easy. Okay, well now, let's throw in a few curses.
Right, you fought him at his base level 3 times, or of the 3 different ranks that they have, or 4 different ranks, I guess, that each monster has.
Pretty much. They have the chump, hooligan, troublemaker, and then the final fight. So
yeah.
all of them do have 4 unique ways to fight them. But Barnaby hath wrought Curse of the Bruised Peel, which has something about their star rating. But in this case, the one that starts out unlocked is at the end of each fight, townsfolk only restore 1 HP each. But if you were knocked out, you restore 2. I mean, that's already brutal. Like, if you have no way to try and heal already, because so many attacks just deal damage.
So do they each have their own curse, then?
They do, yes. Like, for example, let's do one of the base game ones. Will Barlow, his unique curse is Stubborn Spirits. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that does. I haven't looked at any of the unlock stuff, but if we defeat Will Barlow 3 times, which we should, like, retroactively do.
Add 2, at least.
We fucking fought you so many times. It would add this unlocked thing, and there are, all these different curses.
Mm. So, and then when we activate a curse, is it for like the whole campaign then? The whole 4 episodes?
It is, let's see. See page 5. Barnaby's Curses. Curses can be added to your games to crank up the difficulty. As you add heads on your trophy wall, Barnaby will place curses on your own. Only 1 curse is initially available. At the start of each game, you may add 1 unlocked curse to your playthrough. These curses are ranked 1, 2, or 3 star difficulty, 3 being the most difficult. Place the chosen curse near the main board. Curse effects are always active for all players, so be sure to keep them in mind when playing.
Okay.
Many will require careful planning to overcome.
Okay.
So you just pick one. You could shuffle them. You could just actually choose one, and it affects the entire game. Okay. Which a game in Townsfolk Tussle is the 4 fights.
Right. Okay.
So that one alone would have just been insanely difficult. That's it's a 3-star difficulty. Yeah. But there's no extra incentive to do it other than to just make the game more difficult for yourself. Which, like for me, if I want the game, if I'm like, man, we win all the time, then it's like, okay, well, let's put this in. Oh man, we're losing all the time now. So it added that, and then it added, the trophy wall, which was mainly it. So that was all the new stuff. But, and here's actually kind of a negative that I have on this expansion, because the one about extra characters, that's kind of whatever. So, what did you think of the ambush cards?
I didn't really notice them.
Really?
So
I mean, almost every card referenced them. Like the
okay. So it just kind of gave them new parameters.
It gave them like a new setup. Like instead of putting the ambush cards, which is I think ambush is kind of that's a poor word choice. Yeah. Because to me, ambush makes me think, like they're doing something unique. But really, what it was like keywords. Really, instead of having it on their board. Like for example, the Tartar Fish Boy, his was like all about the luring. He would lure, he would cast, and he would do all that. So all of his cards would say lure, cast, and that's.
And that was listed on his ambush card.
That was the ambush card. So it was kind of a.
So it's just like extended rules.
Yes.
Okay.
That's really all they were.
So do you play without them, or are they obligatory?
No,
with those monsters?
They are required for them.
For these guys.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't really understand them then. So it just gives them keywords to reference.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, you just have a card off to the side, and because for Red Atrocious, that's where these 3. The Shotgun Sneezes, Rumble Gut, and Eye Jitter.
Well, then why wouldn't they just have them on the board? Do they just run out of space?
Probably, I
Yeah.
guess, keep it uniform so they don't look so... Because this looks exactly like base game
They're like,
stuff.
shit, we can't fit all this in there. It's getting really... The text is already really small.
Yeah.
Let's add new cards.
Yeah. I mean, I guess in terms of, like, making them unique, yeah, that's nice. Because, I mean, but you could have just put it all on the... Maybe it's like they couldn't fit it on the actual enemy cards. So, to just say lore,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, okay, we'll just reference this.
Yeah, that seemed to be where a lot of them...
But it is kind of
turn off
confusing.
keywords.
Yeah, exactly. It is confusing though because of the just the ambush makes it seem like it's something bigger than that whenever it's really just more rules.
Yeah.
Now, here's my negative with those. I like them. I thought it was clean. It wasn't like, oh god, we have this whole new like let's look at this massive text of new rules. What I don't like is it's just these 8 that have ambush cards.
Gotcha.
So it would have been nice if all of the previous ones had ambush cards.
Okay.
Make them kind of unique. But I guess one...
But these are like obligatory rules for these guys?
Yeah.
They probably just couldn't fit. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming that was their thought process. Yeah, I would have renamed them. I agree with that.
Their whole design of the bosses seemed to be centered around these ambush cards. So I guess it makes sense why they didn't... Because then they'd have to basically redesign all of the base game enemies. So it's just kind of like... It just feels a little weird. But in terms of actual practice, it works perfectly fine. It's not like it was any more confusing just to have a card set off to the side. But yeah, like... those are pretty much the 2 new stuff. Curses and... the ambush cards.
Yeah. Okay.
So, that's Foul Neighbors. If you want more Townsfolk Tussle, Foul Neighbors is definitely a must-have expansion. So then, we go to Odd Jobs, which is a small one that completely changes the Peddler. Because the Peddler deck, just because it's been a while since we've played, here's the OG Peddler deck. Devin.
Ooh. The thick boy.
That's the OG Peddler deck. What the Odd Jobs does is completely means you're not using any of that. And it's replaced with a 30 card deck of basically shit. I mean, it's not shit. They're all good. Like, it's not like it's just like, oh, you... Like, with no text. They're basically still items. But they're centered around roll cards and unlocking stuff because the Peddler has like had all of her shit stolen, so she's trying to scramble and get new stuff.
Oh, so it's all like
to
trash.
yeah, it's all trash that she's found and she's selling to us to help fight off and save defend Eureka Springs. But the more we do, like repair an old jalopy, and we trash that and get more cards. Because there's a bunch of...
Yeah, so it's like an evolving sort of new Peddler deck.
Yeah, it's like a legacy kind of
Yeah, because like, you like you said, you brought your jalopy up, you fix that up, it turned into like a new armor set, and then unlock something else.
Yeah, it was actually a shittier car.
But you had the armor for it.
Yes, I got the armor, and with that card, I need 2 repair cards to do something with that. And then you just go through her journal that has 35 kind of journal entries that will unlock, like get rid of the shitty stuff and replace it with better stuff. I think the Odd Jobs expansion is fantastic.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool. Like, again, they didn't tack on some campaign, but they made it kind of incentivizes you to keep playing the game because you're making slow roguelike element.
Yeah, like small short-term goals.
Yeah.
So for your next game day, you have a few things to target. Okay, we want someone to have the cook role. We want someone to have the instigator role.
Yes. And the changes that we got from the jalopy, for example, that's gone, and now we reap the benefits of those cards that were added into the unlock deck.
And they give you, if you have 3?
Yes, so most of the cards will have like detective or town crier or showman on it. Once you own 3 items, you unlock a role. and there are 20 roles in the game, and those just give you a passive ability for the rest of the game.
Right. They're all certainly very powerful.
Yeah. Very powerful and centered around kind of a class.
Yeah.
That you really
I thought it was cool because I can kind of see the balancing act because I'm like, I didn't feel like this gear was like as powerful as like some of the things you get in the normal Peddler deck. But I was like, oh, okay, I bet you it's compensated in a way by the roll card that you get. So then you're kind of at that power level.
Yes.
Regardless.
Yeah, I mean, because mine, funny enough, it never came up, but with like the scrap suit, for example, because the Tinkerer was all about end of turn put counters on stuff, and if I have a certain number of counters, I get benefits. So the scrap suit was like, hey, if I take damage, I can remove 2 counters to reduce the damage by 2. But my Tinkerer let me remove counters during a fight to draw from the Peddler deck. I could take it. If I don't, I just deal a damage to the Ruffian.
Yeah.
I think this is just such a brilliant, small expansion with a big punch to the game. Like, again, it doesn't overcomplicate it. Like, it's not like you're... I like that they didn't make you shuffle that into the massive stack.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, you either do that stuff or you do odd job stuff. And... then you kind of develop a build more so than just random shit that's getting drawn out where it's like... Because I always kind of felt Townsfolk Tussle suffered from that old school co-op feeling where it's like one person just kind of gets better.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, you're carrying, I wish I could contribute.
Yeah, who got the best drops, the best purchases.
Yeah, the best feats of metal, the best town events where it just keeps like... It's like, well, the rich get richer. It's like, I'm glad this is cooperative, but I'm not really doing anything. Felt like the odd jobs kind of fixed that. I mean, you have way more stuff than I did, but I didn't feel like you were just outclassing me. I was like, I'm happy with my Tinkerer stuff. Like, I'm not the one dying.
I'm like, I'll take the hits. Don't worry.
Right. So it's just neat. I slightly miss the legacy element of certain games, like the Pandemic Legacy stuff, where it's like, it's not campaign, but there's still permanent upgrades.
It feels like you're building towards something.
Yeah.
Which is kind of gradually being included in board games now.
Yeah.
It's just like you kind of want that.
There's,
it's like you get just playing a standalone game anymore. It's like it feels hollow. It's like I need something to be working towards.
It's like, what are we doing? Which is funny because there's a game that just came out called It's Dead Cells, the board game.
Yeah.
And they do something a little similar where you make runs and you spend money and you upgrade and you get permanent upgrades for your next runs. And there seems to be the roguelike keyword popping up more recently in board games.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because it's like, well, a roguelike video game is meant to be quick and you just keep playing over and over and over. And a board game is kind of odd in that sense because it's not as quick. But I think the Odd Jobs expansion kind of does that roguelike element in a really neat way where it's like, okay, I feel satisfied from the game we played and with what we unlocked, and now if we play it again, that stuff is just going to be there. Just naturally. And then she has her journal, again, with expeditions. What do you think of the expeditions?
Expeditions. I mean, we haven't really seen them flourish too much. It's just,
not really.
Make a few check marks, and once you get there,
Yeah.
It unlocks more. But I like having goals.
Yeah.
Which is nice. So it gives me something, a direction to go in.
Yeah, again, not a campaign element. These actually, you have 3 expeditions total, but they're very, they're not like scenarios, which I thought they were scenarios. I thought they were going to have like rules for us to do.
Yeah.
Which I'm actually glad they're not that. Like, I didn't want more campaign-y stuff to the game. It's like, this is nice to just be like, we have these 3, and if any of these goals are met, then we just add in a thumbs up sticker to it. And once you've completely filled out one, like scope out Iron Gut Keep, once all stickers are filled, we read a journal entry which will unlock more cards for doing what we did. And then once all 3 of these are met, then we actually go to the next journal entry, which probably gets us to the next one. So again, just adding stuff that makes you want to play the game without feeling obligated that it's a campaign.
Right.
Where it's like, because again, don't get me wrong, love campaign games, but I have so many that And now because I do them for the channel, I almost feel like I want to do a campaign game for the channel, not really for myself.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, let's play this campaign game. Oh, but I'm not going to record it. Do I even really want to? And here, it's like, oh yeah, let's play Townsfolk Tussle. And we'll just do the odd jobs and try and...
It's always a great time.
It really is. So, both of these expansions are fantastic. I might like the... I mean, obviously, the Foul Neighbors is great, but I think Odd Jobs is just so different from what I was expecting to come out that I almost like it more.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough. Because it's like, well, I love Townsfolk Tussle, the base game. Obviously, I'm going to love this. So Odd Jobs is just a really neat addition.
Yeah, just added more than you think. Or you normally would think, oh, what's it, more gear cards or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, they did a good job with it.
So, I don't know what Panic Roll is doing next. Like...
Panic Roll.
I mean, one thing that just does kind of suck is the insert for the expansions are really good. But I wish that it fit into the base game.
2 boxes.
Like 3.
Anus.
It's 3 boxes.
Oh, disgusting.
I have the Foul Neighbors and the Odd Jobs. So it's like, ugh, damn it. I wish it was all like congruent into one thing. But I don't know. I mean, I'm nitpicking on really like any type of minor small issues. But I hope they keep doing more. What's weird is this actually has so much room for the cards. It almost feels like you could fit everything into something, but like I know you can't. So I don't know. You think they do more? You think they're done?
No. Nobody's ever done. Ever. This is capitalism, baby.
If they can make more money, they will.
They are obligated to do so.
Yeah, I mean, the way that they did Foul Neighbors makes me feel. I mean, because they have this map. Like, well, one, they have a map that is just for Misty Bluff and Sprinkle Falls. Like, kind of like where, I mean, I don't know why, honestly. Like, there's it has Mayor's Office Wellness Center. I guess this is where the 4 enemies, the 4 bosses come from.
Yeah.
But then they have your major map that is actually interesting, though, because there's Biformia, the Evil Woods, Eureka Springs, and Sprinkle Falls, and then Misty Bluff and all that. But Biformia is the King-Queen boss. And then Evil Woods and stuff. So I'd be interested to know if they actually had more areas that they could pull more expansions from.
Give all the backstories. They're bosses.
Yeah.
So I need more terrain.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if I had to guess and they were planning on doing more, it would be pretty much something exactly like this. Maybe a big box. Like usually if they're doing a big box, that means they're capping it. They're like, we're finally done, because otherwise a big box doesn't make sense if you fill it up and it's like, cool, everything fits now.
Here's more stuff.
Yeah, you're making more content and it doesn't fit. So I hope they do. Like, obviously, more bosses, more characters. I mean, it's fantastic. So, but even if they didn't, like, what is it, 16? 16 bosses now? How many were in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Sorry, 20.
20 bosses?
20 bosses.
Nice.
To fight, and, what did I say, 9 characters to play as.
Yeah.
On top of, I mean, there's still, like, unlocked cards that I haven't done in the base game. And then Odd Jobs, again, just gives more incentive to play it over and over to unlock even more stuff. So, it's fantastic. On a scale of 1 to 10, what are you giving Foul Neighbors? What are you giving each, I guess?
Oh, well, each? Very competent expansions. They did great. I forget what I originally gave Townsfolk.
I think probably a 10.
Yeah, if I didn't, it deserves a 10. I've decided. But yeah, I mean, it's more than the same. It's a great expansion. I mean, more, yeah. Solid 10, man. I like this. This is good shit.
Yeah.
I love being a good boss battler, man.
I know. And it is kind of nice that it's not like we just get to play the boss battler.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whenever we played Leviathan Wilds, like with Brad, it was
Yeah.
like, oh man, this is one and done. Like, this is nice.
Oh, I know. It's like, yeah, because like, you know, the progenitors, you know, your Kingdom Death and your Aeon's Trespass, of course, all in a huge campaign. So there's not really a bite-sized version to approach it. And it's like, okay, well, we're buckling you out for 30 games.
Yeah.
Now this is just nice. Like, okay, I want Boss Battler. I want all the different elements, but I want it in a 2-hour time frame. So this is nice.
Yeah, I completely agree. Foul Neighbors and Odd Jobs both getting 10s for me. I mean, they're fantastic. So I would say if you can pick one up, I would actually say get Odd Jobs.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't know how you would pick them up. I mean, because I backed them, but if you have base game, I would actually say Odd Jobs would be a nice addition to base game. Because it's gonna be like gives you still more incentives, and you get the roles and uniqueness of fighting the 12 bosses in the base game. And then once you're kind of done with that, then you can do Foul Neighbors. But yeah, whole shebang is a 10 out of 10 for me as well. So that's it. You got anything else?
I don't think so.
Cool.
Great.
All right. Well, that's our thoughts on Foul Neighbors and Odd Jobs. Let us know what you think of the expansions in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.